Sitting before me is quite often referenced as the definitive Batman figure to exist in today's market. Otherwise known as Mafex number 126 Batman, this is the black version. I never had the opportunity to own this guy. In fact, both times that there were pre-orders for this thing, I missed it. And as you know, these sold out incredibly fast. I mean, most people were super lucky to get their hands on it in the first place, let alone a second copy in order to resell it or however they wanted to handle it afterwards. So yes, I did end up going through a reseller on eBay. I think I paid around $120 for it. So yeah, quite expensive, but it's to be expected because I saw the prices of the blue version of this figure, I want to say around 6 months ago. And man, that was not a pretty sight to say the least. I think this thing reached upwards of like $300 for some. It just kind of depended where you were. Now that they've kind of reissued it, it has come down a lot in price, both the blue and the black. It'd be nice to see the blue one come back too, but honestly, I don't think that's going to happen at least anytime soon. So here we are with the black one, which arguably I think looked better in the first place. And with this version, we get a cooler stand than the blue one does, but we'll get into all that later. Let's go ahead and get a look at this box. So obviously, you know, we've been taking a look at the front here. We get the nice open window with all of the accessories and whatnot on the side there. Of course, we get the Batman hush in big text, very clean, looks super slick. We'll turn to the back side, and here we get a nice look at that stand that I was kind of talking about earlier. I don't want to bring in too many spoilers, so we're not going to get too far. Actually, don't look. Just don't even look yet. Not yet. It's not time. We'll get into that at the end. But anyway, get these nice two little close-ups of Batman's head sculpt and his stand right there. And then he's doing the grappler pose and this very famous Jim Lee pose. I'm sure you've all seen it. I think it's Jim Lee at least. If it's not, then sue me. We'll go ahead and move on. Here's the last side of it. You get just the generic pose of Batman standing there. So always get hair on my freaking boxes, man. Ooh, nice. Okay, so we do get some extra little design on the inside. That leads me to believe that we're most definitely going to see some interior design as well. Go ahead and get Batman out of here. And yes, there is indeed some images on the back. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a very clear shot of that. Yeah, there is plenty of design going around on the inside of there. So props to Mafex for that. So for those of you that don't know, and I actually didn't know this either, is that you can actually verify the authenticity of your figures. Who would have thunk? I've always just kind of ignored this little piece of paper, but I'm going to go ahead and do that today just because I got this figure from eBay. So after you download the app that they say in here, which it's just called Hidden Tag, you're going to open it up and then you can scan this little tag down here and that'll tell you if it's legitimate or not. Obviously it says Metacon toy official item. So no worries there. I now know that it's official and we can move on. Let's go ahead and get this stand out of here if I can. Ah, man. Well, that's awkward. This is not going to work well, guys. Hold on. All right, so forget that any of that just happened, regardless of the hands probably being in there wrong. You didn't see any of that. And here's the stand. This is what was causing us problems. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. This is going to be what we get into at the very, very end. For now, I just want to get into the figure. So here's Batman in the flesh or the plastic, depending on which way you want to look at it. As you can see, we have so many freaking hands this time, dude. Like, so many. I don't want to go too far into the hands later. I'm not going to show you what every single pair looks like on him, but I will kind of briefly go over those towards the end. For now, my main goal is to
blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
Kind of just throw all this stuff aside and get into him, obviously. As you can see, we have that plastic film around the inside of his joints now. I've honestly always kind of just pulled on it. I know that's probably not the best way to do it, but I've always found it better than removing joints and stuff. I hate removing joints. All right, so here's the figure so far. As you can see, we have lots of nice little airbrush details on his chest here, and then throughout some of his like muscle detail, such as on his quads right here, I get a little bit of shading done, and that runs throughout pretty much all of his muscle. I don't know if my camera is doing a great job of picking that up, but it gives it kind of this dynamic contrast that you wouldn't normally get on a regular figure. So props to Mafex for already kind of blowing my mind away with their paint jobs. Already off to a good start. I can feel the wire in the cape already. I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but they put wires in their capes so that you can pose them. That'll be kind of more towards when I get to the articulation side of things. Right now, I just want to get into the looks of everything. So it does seem like our belt is a little bit loose. I think that's normal for the most part, but yeah, lots of very nice detail on this Batman here. Plenty of shading, but wow, this looks incredible, dude. It's already my favorite Batman figure that I own. Is it the definitive Batman so far? Absolutely. I don't see this losing to any Batman that I currently own or even have owned in the past. So let's go ahead and talk about this articulation, kind of push its limits here and see if that holds up to its standard as well. We have some butterfly joints kind of hidden under his cape there. They work okay. They're a little bit snappier than I like them to be, but I'm sure that that'll kind of get better over time. We can come way up here, by the way. Like, I can do a straight uppercut with this guy. That's actually fantastic news. A lot of figures get limited in the shoulder area. I don't know why that's still a problem, especially in the year 2023, but what else can you ask for, I guess? Obviously, we're going to get that bicep swivel. That's just normal. That's expected. I'm going to try these guys out too on this side. Looks like you can get plenty of flex backwards in the butterfly joints. That's very, very good. Double jointed elbows, of course. Not very much back bend. We get a little bit of bend backwards. Let's see if I can kind of show that. Little bit of a back bend there. Usually you can come a little bit farther back with Mafexes, but this one does not seem to want to do so. And then leaning forward, it's a little bit tight. I'm kind of getting stuck on his abs right there. That's all kind of made up for sure with this second joint in his waist area. I mean, we can get way far sideways either side, and we can, if it's like any of the other Mafexes, yeah, we can bend pretty far forward. I mean, we can't get back too far, but I mean, on a Batman figure, is he really gonna have to be doing gymnastic back bends? No, probably not. If this was like a Catwoman figure or something, then I'd probably be a little bit more concerned about that. So we'll do the leg test here. We can't come out super far. Looks like we're kind of limited by his little bottom piece, underwear, whatever you want to call it. Drop down thighs, yes, on both sides, I want to say. Don't really get any rotation though. We didn't get any thigh swivel. That's something that I wish Mafex would start to kind of incorporate a little bit more, to be some thigh swivel. It seems at this point, every other premium figure brand company, they like to put thigh swivel on there. And that makes sense because it gives you a different type of dynamic posing that you can't get without that thigh swivel, much like this Batman. Then we'll go ahead and come forward. Okay, sweet. We didn't have that Ben Reilly issue that I had with the Scarlet Spider where I was getting clicking in the thighs. I mean, we don't really get backwards too much as we do kind of outward with him kicking to the side a little bit. So the only few notes that I would make in a negative aspect of this articulation would be the back bend, the thigh swivel being non-existent, and then how far back his legs can actually go. That's kind of sad that we can't get too far back. It's like this little mold piece of his shorts or underwear or whatever you want to call it is kind of blocking you from coming back farther than you really should be able to. So that could have been a little bit better, but honestly, it's pretty much expected for Mafex. This has all the regular articulation points. How much more complex can we really get, you know? They even gave us a wired cape, which I'm actually going to get into a little bit more right now. That's something that I'm really excited about with this figure, and I think kind of set it apart from different Batmans in the past. Not just for me, but I know for a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons why people really talk about this figure so much, is just how well that cape works out. And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but Yamaguchi's actually starting to take up that as well on the Batman Arkham Knight that we're going to be getting later. I think it said September 2024 is going to be the release date on that. It might come out sooner. I never really know with these imports what the official release dates are. I just kind of get them from Ami from time to time. And that one is telling me that it'll arrive around September of next year. So it honestly made me itch to get a Batman figure and ultimately led me to opening this guy today. So if it wasn't for that one, I probably would have put this off a little bit farther. But of course we get toe crunch as well. Thank God. I mean, it's a Mafex. This isn't freaking Marvel Legends, man. Looks like you can actually put his neck quite far forward, even compared to other Mafexes. A lot of the times I feel like necks on Mafexes are very limited. This one has a good range of motion, honestly. I don't know if the cape's in the way there, but we can come way up and way down. And that's not even the head part. That's just the neck piece. So if we put the head down too, you can get this guy looking straight down. Kind of gives me that Ben Affleck vibe. Now let's get into this cape. And honestly, I know I'm pretty late to this figure, so I don't even really have to do that much explaining. We got the regular cutout of Batman's cape. We have like the whole bat like kind of wing thing going on there, and each one of these little spikes on his cape has a wire. Actually, that's not true. There's only about 4 wires included in the entire cape, but that's really all you need. I mean, the rest of it is kind of just done with the work of gravity, and it holds it up perfectly. I mean, look at this. Just from that alone, you pull that cape up like that, and it just looks phenomenal. And at this point in time, I still stand by it. This is the definitive Batman figure. And that wire bends super easy, by the way. I mean, I can get that thing to bend just like that. So let's go ahead and flap the cape backwards. As you can see, is another nice little piece to this figure, as you can fold it over the top of his shoulders, and you get kind of that, like, you know, more modernized Batman. Or we can get a little bit darker when you see his cape kind of coming towards the front here. But it's nice because you get so much versatility, man, and such a simplistic little feature as well, you know? Even if McFarlane took their figures and what we've been getting for a little bit now with some of the cloth capes on some of these Batman figures, and they introduced that wire, it would be a complete game changer for those guys. Hands down, one of my all-time favorite figures, by the way. Not just Batman, just as a whole. Let's go ahead and get into some of these accessories. Like I kind of said earlier, I don't really want to get into the hands too much, so I'll probably just do a couple zoom-ins on these, show you the process of changing them, and then we'll kind of move on from there. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, just so we can get some nice looking background there. As you can see, we have kind of like these grabbing hands. I don't want to say they're full-blown grabbing, but they're kind of like an aggressive open pair, if you will. We have the knife hands, where he's kind of got like batarangs in between his fingers. I actually really like this pair. this one's really cool to me. Of course, we get like the grappler hands. I believe this is where this piece will come in right here. I want to say that this will just poke in. Yeah, and it looks like it does actually. That's honestly really nice because that mitigated the reason to own a whole nother accessory for this grappler piece. You just kind of pop it in there with his hand already. But basically, there's a little hole on either side of these grapplers, and this is just going to fit right in there. Just like that. That's honestly one of the cooler designs that I've seen from Metacom, so mad props there. We get a more kind of halfway open, halfway closed pair of hands. I don't really see the need in these when you already have the other ones, but there's a median to hands especially, and this one definitely crosses that threshold, at least in my opinion. I do enjoy the versatility, but at the end of the day, I have to buy a new tackle box now. It's getting harder and harder to keep all these accessories, man. I promise you. Another variation of open grip hands. I believe these ones will go directly to the batarangs. Let's go ahead and grab Batman, and we're going to see just how easy his hands pop off here. So we'll grab and pull, and just like that. That was actually super smooth, and they pop right back on, just how they're supposed to, just like any other Mafex. No problem with the hand system. Got this little batarang right here. This is going to be the smaller version of the two. Then we'll see how that pops in there. Actually fits in very nice. The resistance there is kind of rubbery, so you can kind of just keep pushing until it's kind of just like snapped into place, and you're not going to lose that at all. I mean, that's in there. That's in there really good. So set that aside. Let's try the bigger batarang here. And that one definitely fits a little looser. I don't know if you saw that at the end there, but it kind of wobbled a little bit after I applied that force there. This one I would be a little bit cautious. Yep, see, it just fell out right there. But yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. I actually really like that. Not bad. Like, not even not bad. This is an easy 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Let's go ahead and pull this hand. The last hand that I wanted to try out, actually, so I did lie. Sorry about that. You know, I said we weren't going to get too far into the hands. There's one more that I want to check out, and that's actually this grappler one that we took a look at a little bit ago. I just want to see how the functionality is behind him holding that. Okay, so this claw is just going to stick into the end, just like that. And I believe that's just going to give you, you know, that look of like he's about to shoot the grappler. And then we pull that out. We'll stick the next one in. And boom, now he is shooting the grappler. Honestly, that system works so well, and it honestly meets the expectation of the rest of the figure. I am sitting at an absolute 10 out of 10, and we have not even gotten to the stand yet. Ultimately, this figure has really redefined for me what Mafex is capable of. I knew that they were good, you know, like I have a handful of Mafex figures, but this one really tells me like, holy shit, these guys are good, you know? And one more thing before we get into the stand, actually, I forgot to check the headpieces here. Let's see what the functionality behind the head is here. Now this might, you know, this could turn it all around. We could end up back at a 0 out of 10. We don't know yet. I don't want to jinx it or nothing, but just saying. Let's go ahead and pull. All right, come off just fine. It looks like his neck comes out. Was not expecting that. Thought it would be more so just his head. Let's go ahead and pop that on. Very nice. And then pop him back on. And here's a close-up on that head sculpt. Very nice. As you can see, we're pretty much in the lines everywhere except for that little corner piece there where the black kind of goes over his skin a little bit, but honestly, better than most. That is for sure. The teeth look great. The lips look great. We didn't have really nothing here that I would really consider a full-blown QC issue. All right, so last but definitely not least, we have the stand. We got the regular claw with that piece that'll snap it together, and then that's gonna pop onto this arm, which would go into the base. But we're not gonna worry about all that today because you already know what this is about. You already know what the stand is about. At least I'm gonna assume you do. If you don't, go watch one of my other Mafex videos or go watch just really any Mafex video, and they'll probably go into that stand a little bit better. But pretty much they're gonna always include the same exact stand. So we'll go ahead and set those aside for now. I want to talk about what's different here today, which would be this gargoyle piece right here. This little peg is going to pop into the hole on the back of that gargoyle. That's going to pop on. And now, if you remember from earlier, this little picture right here of Batman standing on the gargoyle is actually this stand right here. What a shocker. Wow. I'm sure you guys already knew that. But for those of you that didn't, I'm sure your mind has just been... Basically, we can just pull his cape back, and then the claw is obviously going to sit over the top of his belt here, and then he'll stand all beautifully and majestically on that gargoyle. What a unique way of doing a stand, honestly. I know it sounds like I'm writing Mafex here, but I've seen like the stand that we got with SH Figuarts Gwen, like that one that I did last week, and that one was a different take. This is just so much more unique, man, and it just really reminds me of the spirit that used to be behind these kind of figures. I feel like back in the day when you you got a figure and it came with a stand, that stand meant something. You know, it wasn't just your copy paste recycled stand. It had some characteristic, some value to it. And this stand right here pulls that entire figure together. I absolutely love this thing. And at the end of the day, the issues that I have with it don't even count anymore. So is this the definitive Batman figure? Yes. Absolutely. I would put that above all 1000%. This is the definitive Batman figure, at least in a 6-inch scale and a 7-inch scale. In fact, I would be comfortable calling this the perfect Batman figure. If anybody thinks that there's a Batman that can beat this, go ahead and let me know down below, and I might just have to pick it up and compare the two. With all that being said, I do appreciate you watching to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please consider hitting that subscribe button today. I did get channel membership set up, so if you guys wanted to help support the channel at all and you're a fan of the content, and you want to help fund these videos, I do have one tier available right now. It's $2.99 a month. That's going to grant you monthly status on the page to show you how long you've been a member. It'll get you emojis that I'm going to be constantly adding over time. If you do become a member, your name will be posted at the end of the video along with everybody else who's a member, and you'll also get a custom spot on my channel, I believe. It'll be right there on the front page when you go to the channel. And then, of course, you'll get access to kind of like behind the scenes content, members only posts where I'm going to be posting status updates, pictures of the figures, and potentially giveaways in the future. So if you guys are interested in all of that, just click the join button next to the subscribe button down below. There are a couple of other ways that you can help support the channel as well if you're not able to sign up for that membership. I have a creator code on Fortnite. It's just code Beebzie. And then I also have an affiliate link with V1 Tech. They have some great mouse pads and other kind of desk gear and custom PC mods and stuff like that. If you guys are in the market for that, definitely go check those guys out. They're fantastic. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys got for Christmas this year. I hope it was filled with plenty of figures, plenty of food, and I hope you all got to spend good quality time with your family over this last holiday. I hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay awesome.